Welcome to Plan Watch Walk, where we look at bringing you some of the best walking around. Today we're going to be looking at a equipment review. We've been in discussion with Life Marquee to bring you a review of some of the equipment. What I'd like to say before we get going is that I'm not getting paid in any way. This is purely independent. Life Marquee has sent through a couple of pieces of equipment for us to have a look at and do field reviews in the field. So what we're looking at today is one of their brands, which is Lifesystems, and we're going to be unboxing the head torch here and having a look at it, and then we're going to take it into the field, do a field trial and come up with our findings. So the head torch itself, if we have a look at it, some of the specifications, let me just read it out from the box. 21 hours maximum battery life, 23 to 45 meters beam length, its impact resistance, the 6 modes of lighting sitting inside there, which we'll look at in our review, and 220 lumens of brightness, and also IPX6 waterproof. So the features themselves, we've gone through, so shockproof, and we'll go into some of the features and usability of it. So the box itself is pretty compact, so if we start to open this up, and we'll have a look inside and see what we get. So if we pull the light out itself, these things always take a bit longer when you're under camera. Here we go. So we've got the light itself. It's pretty compact. If we have a look at it, we've got the tilt function on it. So what else have we got inside here? If we open up the box itself, inside here we've got the head strap, which we'll put on in a second, and we've got the USB charging cable because it's the USB compatible for charging. And also in the bottom of here we have a small operating instruction of how to use the camera itself. So what we'll do, I will connect up the head torch itself to the strap, and we will come back to you once that has been undertaken. Okay, well, actually putting in the strap, it's a little bit fiddly, but once it's in, it's pretty secure, to be perfectly honest, which is what you need. So you don't mind having a fiddly piece at the front end to make sure that it's secure. So we've got the USB charging point on here, it's USB-C, we've got the cable, and yeah, it looks as if it's going to be quite robust. So what we'll do now, we'll take this into the field and show you some of the results of what we find in the field. Well, hi there everyone, we're out doing some night trials on the torch, the head torch. It's going to be four different intensities of light we're going to use, and we're going to try and do a trial on the red light as well. So let's see how it goes and see what the findings are. The first intensity light, we're going to walk up the same path for each of the level, so you can see what the light looks like for each level. This is the first intensity. As you can see, it's lighting up the path, but just in front of us. It's not giving a great overall view, but yet you wouldn't necessarily walk with this intensity on. So that's level 1. It's really helping us, but let's see what the next levels do. So this is now the second level of light. So we're going to walk up the same path to give you the idea of what's going on. This is giving a lot better intensity of light. The first light itself you wouldn't necessarily use for walking, it would just be if you're in close proximity to things, but this is giving a lot better coverage. Obviously without the intensity the battery doesn't run out as quickly, so it gives you an idea of the second level of intensity. Okay, so we're starting off from the same place again. This is now on the third level of intensity, and we can see we're getting a lot better span of light here. Obviously you're using more battery power, but you're getting a lot better span of light as we're walking through the wooded area here. So you'd be quite you could walk a night walk with this level of light on without too much problem at all. So this light would work very well, the third level. I wouldn't have any problem in doing a night walk with this one on. So this is the most powerful level of light, and you can see it's quite a lot different. So you've got quite a distance of visibility here without any great problem of not seeing anything. You can see the definitions being picked up a great deal more. So this would be great if you're in, you needed to see a lot further ahead. The downside of this, obviously the battery life isn't as great, but the distance wise you're quite easily picking up. For me, maybe you're not picking it up in the camera, but quite easily 30-40 feet, and gives a really good vision of light around in many different planes. So the breadth of the light is very, very good as well. So this is the first level of intensity of the light, and you can see it's actually really useful. You wouldn't necessarily be using it for walking, but it's really useful if you've got a map in front of you. And if we look up above, we can see that it's pretty dark, but it's picking up the pretty much all of the detail on the map, and I could quite easily map read with that one. So the first level is really useful for that. And again, if you're out at night around a campsite, or you're wild camping or whatever, this light would be really useful around there, because you wouldn't be using too much of the battery power, but yet you can still see, you can see enough to get around if you're around a campsite area, around by wild camping. So the first level would be particularly useful for those sort of activities. The red light, I've got a map ahead of me here, and it doesn't pick up. You can read the map just with the red light on, but the red light's quite useful if you are, just see the undergrowth here, if you're in and around a tent, or you're quite close, so you want to be dull light level. So the red light does have its use. I personally haven't found a great deal of use for it in what I've been doing, but that's saying I haven't been out camping and around those sort of areas. So before we completely wrap this video up, there's a couple of extra features I just want to point out to you. One of them, next to the on-off switch on here, there's a sensor switch. How that works is when you hit the sensor switch and you've got the light on, when you put your hand up against the light and you move it away, it switches it on and off. There's too much ambient light around for this to work, but it works particularly well in the field and at night. So that's one feature. The other feature as well, which I haven't shown so far, is that we've shown the red light function, but also if you press it again, there's a flashing red light function. Now that in an emergency situation is particularly useful. If you're out in the field, a flashing light is gets a lot more attention than a solid light, so that's particularly good. What have I found particularly useful? I've enjoyed wearing the torch itself. The strap itself sits, it doesn't move, there's very little movement from it. The light itself is pretty light when you've got it on your head, so that's particularly good. The battery life of the camera, I've had it on for a number of hours, I think about 3 hours solidly, absolutely no problem on high intensity, so that's a pretty good indicator. And the different adjustable light levels I've found useful in different areas. I haven't had it gone constantly on the high beam, but it's there if need be, so that's particularly good. If you enjoyed this and you've got this far and you haven't subscribed, why not subscribe? There's plenty other videos on the channel, there's plenty walks, there's reviews, there's constantly more content going up, so if you haven't subscribed, why not subscribe? Below, in the details below, there is the link to the blog post, and I hope you've enjoyed that and you found it useful. Until the next one, bye for now.